Okay, so I just wanted to go over real quick your new drill, the Dewalt 20 volt. I think is what you got. I think it's exactly like this one. And what you should have gotten was the drill motor, probably two batteries. These are batteries, and the charger for the batteries. So the first thing you want to do is charge the batteries. So plug in your charger, take the battery, turn it upside down, and it'll slide right in to the charger. Just like that. And then it'll have the indicator telling you what it's going to do, or what it's doing. Right, and I think there's a little legend right there that tells you. So right now it's on solid. It says that it's charging if it's blinking, but right now it says it's fully charged. So you just, when it's done charging, when it's on steady like that, you just pull it out. It just slides in and slides out. Okay, so this is the drill motor. And to put the battery in, you do it the same way. Just take it and slide it right in, and it locks in. To get the battery out, you just push the tab and slide it out. To put it in, you don't have to push the tab, just slide it in until it locks. Okay, what's on the drill? So, first thing is the trigger, which makes the drill turn. You just pull it. It is a variable speed drill, which means that you can go slow or fast. If you pull the trigger just a little bit, it goes slow. The harder you pull it, the faster it goes. The next thing is forward and reverse. So there's a slider switch right above the trigger here, and it slides through the body. When it is on to the left, slid all the way to the left, it turns right or screws in. When you slide it all the way to the other side, just by pushing it, it turns left, which is taking screws out or drilling backwards, as the case may be. Now it does have a safety, which I rarely use, but every once in a while I'll pick up the drill and the trigger won't pull, which means that switch is in the middle. So it just locks it, and again, to get it going, just push it from one side to the other, and it'll go. Next thing, this is a 2-speed drill. It's variable speed, but it also has a 2-speed gearbox, and that is on a switch on top. So you've got a number 1 speed and number 2 speed. Number 1 speed is the slower speed, which is for drilling in screws or using larger drill sizes. And you can see it turning. The number 2 speed is for small drills, and it turns a lot faster. Most everything you can do in one, but if you got a small drill and you're going through metal or something really hard, you'll want to turn up the speed. Next thing on this is a clutch. This has a clutch for putting in screws. The lower number, this just turns a big dial on the front. The smaller number means that it won't put the screws in very quick. So you can see I can hold the chuck here, keep it from turning, and the higher you go, the harder it'll put the screws in. Once you get up to 10 or 12 or something like that, it's pretty much locked in, and then 15 is the hardest, but you won't be able to tell the difference. So if you've got some little tiny screw or something that you're putting in, and you don't want to strip it out. It's going into some soft material or something. You may want to put it at a low number just to make sure it doesn't screw in too hard and strip out. You can put it in, and if it doesn't screw in very good, you can always turn it up 1 or 2 notches. The other thing on this, and this is dialed in by this arrow here. So one is here, and it barely even turns. The other thing it has is if you turn it all the way to the right, it's got a little thing that looks like a drill, and what this does is bypass the clutch, and so you don't have any clutch, and that's mostly for drilling because you don't want the drill to stop or slip or anything like that. So that's the clutch, and usually I keep it on, I don't know, 10 or 11 or something, and that kind of do just about anything I want to do. Next thing is how to put the drill bits in or the screwdriver in. This is called the chuck, and what it does, it chucks up the bits, and as you turn this, it either opens the jaws when you turn it that way, or if you turn it the other way, it closes the jaws. So for a smaller drill, you can close down like that, or for a bigger drill, or the nut driver or the screwdriver, you can just turn it to where it needs to go. So that's about the basics of the drill. Now let's move on to the drill bits or screwdriver bits. I think you got a kit something like this. So it's got all your drill bits here, and it's got them by size. Smaller sizes, they've got a couple of them because they break or wear out faster because you use the small ones a lot more than the big ones. Over on this side, and yours may be arranged differently because I don't think it's a Black & Decker. I don't think it's identical, but I think it's got the same components or the same pieces in it. These are called nut drivers, and what these are is they'll screw a nut in, which has a hex nut. So it's got the different sizes there, and so you can use those right in the front of your drill if you've got if you don't have a wrench or something, you can use these, and it works pretty good. I don't use them too often because I've got sets of sockets and just use the regular way of doing it, but this is a good way to do it if you've got a lot of small screws that have a hex head on them. Up here is all the different screwdriver bits. It goes from the straight screwdriver bits over here and here. These are just longer versions. These are the shorter versions. It's got straight bits, it's got Phillips bits, it's got square drive bits, which will fit in a little square. Some screws have a little square. It's got the a few of these star bits that fit a special screw. You very rarely see those. I've got some on my motorcycle that fit those, but I've got a whole another set of those that I use on the motorcycle. Then here's some more square drives, the small ones, and then the Phillips. And on the Phillips bits, as with the straight bits and square bits and all the other ones, they come in different sizes. So the Phillips come in a 1, 2, and 3 size. The 1 is for real tiny screws. You want to make sure that the bit fits the screw that you're using. The number 2 is pretty much standard for most screws, and number 3 is for real large screws. And you can pull them out and take a look, and you can see the different sizes. The number 2s, and you can see they give you extra number 2s and extra number 2s, so you can, that's the most common. Again, these are just longer versions of them. If you've got a screw that's down in a hole that you've got to reach down to get in. And this, the magnetic holder. Now, I keep the magnetic holder in the drill all the time. I just use the magnetic holder. It's just makes things so much easier. I've got one here, the one that I use that I keep in the drill, and what it is it's just an extension type thing with a magnet in it, and then you take one of the bits out of the shorter bits, or the longer bits will work in this too, and it just slips right in the end, and that drives it. So what's neat about, and to put it in, you just put it in and tighten the chuck. And this chuck is a hand chuck, so you just tighten it by hand, make sure it's in there. Sometimes it may come loose, you just tighten it back up again. So you're on number one, that's what you screw on. And the one thing neat about uh, the magnetic holders, when you're trying to start screws, you put them on the front and the magnet holds them there. Now, it it's hard to, you still need to hold it a little bit to get it started. Start it slow and just kind of hold over the top of it. Because if you don't, it's gonna do that. It's really hard to do unless you hold on to it when you start. But the magnet will keep it from falling off. If you don't have the magnet and you go to put a screw on the end there, it just falls off, and you'll end up having to pick up screws all the time. But you put it in the magnet and you put the screw on and it holds it there. So that's a neat thing to do. Again, I keep this setup in the drill all the time, because the majority of what I use are Phillips head screws, and just the magnet makes it that much easier. If you're going to buy screws to do a job, I would buy Phillips head screws. They're just the easiest to use. They're the most common. If I find screws that are straight screws, I'll take them out and throw them away. Because what happens if you go and try and start a screw, or if you go and try and hold a screw on there, that thing's going to slip out and it's going to poke in your finger, and you're trying to get the screw started. I've hurt my hand more times trying to use straight screws than anything. So I just use a Phillips screws. Some people like the square drive. That was kind of a fad for a while, but the Phillips is the way to go. I think that's pretty much everything there is to it, and hopefully it works good for you. This is a really good drill. I've got another one that's an 18 volt. This one's a little smaller, easier to handle, and everything hopefully will work out good for you. Alright, I think I'll close this up.